Welcome to Creamer Media's Resources Watch, a weekly video roundup of the events and people making and shaping the news in the mining industry. This week, early income bonanza for funded Witwatersrand gold mining reviver, Hillside Aluminium could get green lifeline by 2030, and early copper-zinc production investigations underway at Orion's Prieska. West Wits Mining is the beneficiary of an unexpected gold find that will result in income being generated considerably sooner than expected.
We ended the year quite busy last year. There's a couple of activities that we released. The main one was where we were able to raise about 9.5 million Aussie dollars in capital. Now that sets us up for this year to continue with our early development as we published as well last year. There was also quite a bit of work that happened on site. We appointed our mining contractor, Money Mining, and these guys have now established site quite nicely. Our box cut was properly supported, and that then enabled us to start with the rehabilitation of our underground decline.
Energy consultant Clyde Mallison is of the firm belief that with solar, wind and storage, Hillside Aluminium could get green factory gate energy by 2030.
I actually believe that Hillside Aluminium could get green energy by 2030 at about $3 a kilowatt hour with storage. So at the factory gate. So I need to specify at the factory gate, and I don't mean at Hillside itself. I mean the resources supplying Hillside, wheeling on the Eskom grid, could do it at around about an average cost of $3 by 2030. Now that might sound impossible, but what were the prices in bid window 5? Well, at today's exchange rate, $3 is about exactly the average of bid window 5. And I'm talking at by 2030. And batteries are decreased in cost by 90% over the last decade, and they're due to decrease by another 80% over the next decade. So it's actually easy. It's an easy solution. And it could start immediately by actually leveraging underutilized Eskom pump storage. Eskom doesn't use its existing pump storage to its full potential for the simple reason that it doesn't have enough energy to fill it.
The executive team of Orion Minerals is re-evaluating the development schedule of the Prieska copper-zinc project to assess the potential for its fast tracking.
Our Prieska project is something special because it is a relatively large base metal project in South Africa, but it's going to take 4 years to build, and it's a big capital ticket. And over the last while, we've been taking a lot of investors and financiers to site. And people look at our open pit that we've planned to mine in 13 years' time, which is very high grade because it's a 1.9% open pit. And they say, why don't you mine this up front? And it was always a catch-22. When we started our bankable feasibility study, obviously the copper prices were a lot lower. You were looking at copper prices of 6,000 a ton, 6,000 US a ton. Last week, we touched on 10,000 a ton. So the world has changed. And there's one thing about copper, it seems to be the one certain thing for the medium long-term future. So we do need to start looking through different eyes at projects. Now, our open pit study was always planned to be mined at 100,000 ton a month in year 13. But we've actually got mills on order. We've paid deposits to Eskom for power connections and all sorts of things. And we start asking ourselves, but why don't we just look at getting early production? And it was always about, it's just not enough tons. The sulfide tonnage there is about 1.1 million tons in the open pit that's JORC compliant at the moment. And we can only really speak about the JORC compliant stuff and do financial projections on JORC compliant economics. But we do know that there's a lot of oxide copper there as well. We haven't estimated it yet because it's got different geostatistics involved. But the intention was always, when we mine the oxides, we'll stockpile them separately just to get to the sulfides, and then we'll mine the sulfides. So that's one immediate additional source of ore that may come into play. But we've been looking more and more at these pillars. And these pillars are quite an interesting, attractive thing because it's a pre-developed mine. you've got all these ramps and declines that you could drive trucks into, and you could haul ore out to surface. And there's ore sitting in these pillars. And we know that Angloval, when they did their mine planning, they allowed for 20% of their ore to be left behind as pillars for stability purposes. But we're going to be mining with pasted backfill. So we're going to take our waste, our tailings, mix it with cement and pump it back into the hole, into the voids. And basically you create a support matrix, which then means that you can actually extract these pillars.
For mining news as it breaks, stay logged on to miningweekly.com and register for our free daily newsletter.